What if I told you that the life you want, the one with more money, better health, and more happiness, already exists, and that the only thing separating you from it is not time, nor luck, nor hard work, but a single decision you can make in an instant? This is not a metaphor. It's a real mechanism that ancient sages, like Thoth, knew, and that quantum physics is beginning to prove. In the next few minutes, I'm not going to give you positive thinking tips. I'm going to give you the exact map, the step-by-step guide on how to truly make a quantum leap and tune into this new reality. But there's a crucial mistake, a mental trap that 99% of people make, and that keeps them stuck in the same place, no matter how hard they try. If you skip any part of this video, you'll miss the key that unlocks this trap. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal could change the way you see the world forever. If you believe that life can change in an instant, comment below. I'm ready for the leap. We wake up every day and follow a script. We believe the ground beneath our feet is solid, that the rules of the game are fixed, and that life is a sequence of events that happen to us. We live inside a box built with the walls of our own certainties, and we call this box reality. We look in the mirror and see the same person, trapped in the same problems, repeating the same patterns. We believe that this reflection is all that exists, an immutable image that defines us. But this solidity is the greatest of all illusions, maintained only by the force of our habit of believing in it. Suddenly, in the middle of the routine, something breaks the pattern. It could be a coincidence so perfect it sends shivers down your spine, like thinking about someone you haven't seen in years and receiving a message from that person seconds later. It could be a dream so intense and lucid that, upon waking, the real world seems pale and colorless for a few moments. Or perhaps it's just a silent but profound feeling that arises in the middle of traffic or in the silence of the early morning. An inexplicable certainty that there is something more, something vast and alive pulsating just behind the surface of things. This moment is no coincidence. It's a sign. Ancient sages, like the Egyptian Thoth, called it the calling. It's the first crack in the mirror of your programmed reality. It's an invitation to stop looking at the reflection and, for the first time, look through it. It's the universe whispering in your ear that the walls of your prison are not made of stone, but of thoughts, and every thought can be changed. This realization is the turning point, the moment when the journey truly begins. When that crack appears, life as you knew it begins to lose its meaning. The daily grind, the worries that once seemed so urgent, everything starts to feel like part of a game you no longer want to play. You begin to question the script. Why am I doing this? Who wrote these rules? What if there's another way to live? This restlessness isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. On the contrary, it's a sign that your consciousness is awakening from the deep sleep of autopilot. From that moment on, the power returns to your hands. The fundamental question of your existence changes drastically. It ceases to be what will life bring me, or when will things get better for me. These are questions from someone who sees themselves as a passenger, waiting for destiny to take them somewhere. The new question, the question that breaks the chains, is much more direct and powerful. What kind of life will I choose to create from now on? You stop being a spectator of your own story and begin to take up the pen. This shift in perspective is the first real step toward transformation. You stop looking outward for answers, permission, or salvation, and begin to look inward. You understand that the world you experience is not an absolute fact, but a direct reflection of what is happening within you. The solidity of the world dissolves, and you realize that reality is malleable, fluid, waiting for your instructions. The question is no longer whether change is possible, but rather what change you will command. And when you look through that crack in the mirror, you don't find an empty or frightening abyss. You find a secret that modern science is only beginning to understand, a principle that completely changes the rules of the game. You discover that your current life is just one among infinite possibilities that already exist, ready to be accessed. But how can you access an entire life that already exists elsewhere? Peeking through the crack in your reality, you discover something surprising. Quantum physics is beginning to prove what mystics have always known. There isn't just one reality. There are infinite versions of your life happening simultaneously, here and now. Think of it like an old radio with a tuner. Your current life, with its problems and joys, is playing on a specific station, say 98.7 FM. You're used to the music, the commercials, the programming of that station. It's familiar, but on that same radio, there are other stations. On 102.5 FM, you're listening to a life where you are perfectly healthy, with vibrant energy. On 105.1 FM, there's a version of you living in financial abundance, without the worries that haunt you today. On another frequency, you have the deep and authentic relationships you've always dreamed of. These lives aren't fantasies you need to build from scratch, brick by brick. They already exist. They are real, complete, and on the air right now, waiting for a listener. The distance between you and that better life isn't measured in time or space. It's not something you'll achieve in 10 years or by moving to another country. The distance is measured in vibration, in frequency. The true quantum leap isn't a journey to the future. It's a change of tuning in the present. It's like turning the radio dial to change the station you're listening to. The life you desire isn't in the distant future. It's here, now, coexisting with yours, separated only by a difference in energetic frequency. This means that all the effort you put into fighting your current reality is a waste of energy. Fighting against 98.7 FM doesn't make 105.1 FM start playing. It only generates more static and frustration on the station you're already on. You don't need to destroy your current life to create a new one. You just need to shift your attention, your focus, and your energy away from the frequency that no longer serves you, and start aligning yourself with the frequency of the life you choose to experience from now on. The big question, then, becomes obvious. How do you change the station? If the life of your dreams is already available, why aren't you living it yet? The answer is that we've been taught to believe we are the radio, not the radio operator. We believe we're stuck on the station we've been given, but the truth is, you have the power to turn the dial. You have control of your own internal tuner, the ability to choose which reality you want to hear and experience. The process of change isn't about adding something that's missing, but about tuning something that already exists. It's an internal adjustment, a recalibration of your own energy so that it matches the energy of the reality you desire. You need to become compatible in vibration with the life you want to live. It's a simple but profound principle. You can't listen to an AM radio station with an FM receiver. Similarly, you can't live a life of abundance while your being vibrates at the frequency of scarcity. So, the secret to the quantum leap lies in learning how to operate your own tuner. But most of us try to do this the completely wrong way, using tools that don't work and that, in fact, keep us stuck exactly where we are. There's a fundamental mistake that almost all of us make when trying to change our lives, a mistake that prevents us from turning the knob and tuning into the new station. Now that you know your new life is just a frequency shift away, the natural tendency is to try to force that change. We use willpower, rigid discipline, mental effort. We create detailed action plans, make to-do lists, set goals, and try to push reality in the direction we want. We act as if the universe were a stubborn employee who needs to be coerced into following our orders. We fight our habits, battle our thoughts, and become frustrated when the world doesn't obey. This is the biggest mistake of all. Trying to force change is like yelling at a radio to change the song. It doesn't work. The universe doesn't respond to orders, pleas, or brute force. It doesn't understand the language of effort or struggle. It operates in a much more subtle and powerful language, the language of energy, frequency, and vibration. You can't force a tuning. You need to become the tuning. Change doesn't happen when you fight against your current reality, but when you align yourself with the new one. The great inventor Nikola Tesla, a man who seemed to draw ideas directly from the future, said something revealing. "My brain is only a receiver." He didn't see himself as a creator who invented things out of nothing. He saw himself as an antenna, tuning into ideas and information that already existed in the energy field around him. He understood that the secret was not to create, but to receive. And to receive, his antenna needed to be perfectly calibrated to the frequency of the information he was seeking. Our attempt to control everything with the rational mind is what generates static and prevents fine-tuning. The logical mind wants to know the how. How will I get the money? How will I find the right person? How will I heal my body? It wants a complete map before taking the first step. But the universe doesn't work that way. Trying to figure out the how before aligning is like trying to decipher a city map without ever having gotten in the car and started the engine. Alignment is the engine. The secret, therefore, is not to push the river, but to learn to flow with it in the direction you desire. It's about stopping fighting the door and realizing that the key has always been in your pocket. True change is silent, internal. It's a relaxation, a permission. It's letting go of the need to control every detail and trusting that, by adjusting your internal frequency, external circumstances will begin to rearrange themselves to match this new vibration. It's a dance, not a battle. When you stop forcing and start aligning, something magical happens. Things begin to flow. The right people appear. Opportunities arise from unexpected places. Solutions to old problems present themselves effortlessly. It's not luck or chance. It's the law of the universe in action. You have become a clear receiver, and the universe is simply responding to your new frequency, delivering the programming that matches your tuning. But if the key isn't willpower or mental planning, where exactly does this tuning begin? If it's not with our logical mind, what tool controls our internal tuner? The answer lies in a place most of us ignore or underestimate. A secret laboratory we carry within us every second of every day. That's where the true alchemy of reality happens. The attunement that changes your reality doesn't begin in your logical mind, but in the secret laboratory of your own body, your emotions. Every thought that crosses your mind, whether conscious or unconscious, triggers a chemical reaction in your brain. This chemistry produces a feeling, an emotion. And each emotion is not just an abstract sensation, it is literally energy in motion. Every feeling you experience emits a specific vibrational signature, a frequency that is transmitted to the universe 24 hours a day. Feelings like fear, anger, guilt, shame, and anxiety are low-frequency energies. They are dense, heavy, and contracted. When you live in these emotional states, your body and your energy field are vibrating at a low frequency. It's like tuning your radio to a station of static and noise. This vibration keeps you magnetically trapped in the reality that corresponds to these feelings, a reality of scarcity, conflict, illness, and loneliness. You keep attracting more of the same, not because you are unlucky, but because your frequency is asking for it. On the other hand, feelings like gratitude, love, joy, compassion, and admiration are high-frequency energies. They are light, expansive, and open. When you cultivate these emotional states, you raise your vibration. You are, effectively, turning the dial on your internal radio to a high-definition station with clear sound and harmonious music. This elevated frequency aligns you with the reality that corresponds to these feelings, a reality of abundance, health, authentic connections, and flow. This is the true alchemy that the ancient masters taught. It wasn't about literally transforming metal into gold, but about transforming the lead of our negative emotions and limiting thoughts into the gold of an expanded and elevated consciousness. The great work doesn't happen in an external laboratory, but within your own being. Before any lasting change can manifest in your physical world, the transmutation needs to occur internally. As the Hermetic principle states, as within, so without. You don't attract into your life what you want with your mind. You attract into your life what you are in your vibration. You can repeat 1,000 times, "I want to be rich," but if you feel poor, anxious, and afraid of lack, your emotion is the real command the universe is receiving. Your vibration of scarcity will always be more powerful than your words of desire. Real change only happens when you learn to generate and sustain the feelings of your desired reality, even before it manifests. The challenge is that we've been conditioned to react to our environment. We expect something good to happen outside so we can feel good inside. We expect to win the lottery to feel abundant. We expect to find someone to feel loved, but the game works the other way around. You need to feel abundant for wealth to appear. You need to feel loved for love to manifest. You need to generate the feeling first. You need to become the person who already has what they desire. But how do you do that? How do you generate feelings of a reality you're not yet seeing or touching? How do you feel grateful for something that hasn't happened yet? The answer lies in using a powerful tool we all possess, an innate capacity of our brain that allows us to experience realities that don't yet physically exist. A tool capable of building the foundations of your new life. To generate the feelings of your new life, you need to use a powerful tool that your brain already possesses. It has a fascinating characteristic that neuroscience is only beginning to map. It doesn't clearly distinguish between an experience that was actually lived and an experience that was intensely and meticulously imagined. For your brain, seeing with the mind's eye and feeling with the body is almost the same as being there. When you close your eyes and allow yourself to live a scene in your imagination, your brain releases the same chemicals and activates the same neural networks that it would activate if the scene were real. This means you don't have to wait for your new reality to happen to start feeling what it's like. You can start now. By visualizing, you're not just daydreaming. You're rehearsing your future. You're building new neural pathways, teaching your brain and body to recognize a new pattern of reality. You are literally installing the neurological hardware for your new life, before it even manifests on the physical plane. The secret is not just seeing the image, but feeling the emotion. It's no use visualizing a house on the beach if you feel distant and unworthy of it. The magic happens when you transport yourself into the scene. Feel the sea breeze on your face. Hear the sound of the waves. Feel the sand beneath your feet. More importantly, feel the emotion you would feel if it were real right now. Feel the peace, the joy, the gratitude, the freedom. It is this heightened emotion that begins to shift your frequency and reprogram your body for a new mind. By repeating this visualization process with feeling, something incredible begins to happen. The initial emotion of excitement and novelty, which is associated with something you desire in the future, begins to transform. It calms down and becomes a feeling of familiarity, of normalcy. You are no longer desiring something distant. You are remembering something that is already yours, a place that is already your home. You are creating memories of a future that has not yet happened in linear time. These memories of the future become the new default program of your internal operating system. They are recorded in your subconscious, the part of your mind that controls 95% of your actions, behaviors, and perceptions. When your subconscious accepts this new reality as familiar and safe, it stops sabotaging your efforts and begins to work in your favor. It starts to automatically guide your perceptions and actions to match this new internal programming. This new programming becomes a magnetic field. You start noticing things you didn't notice before. People and opportunities aligned with your new frequency begin to appear in your life, seemingly out of nowhere. You start having ideas and impulses that guide you in the right direction. Your external reality begins to reorganize itself to reflect the change that has already happened internally. You become a magnet for the life you rehearsed in your mind and body. But these memories of the future don't just guide your perception. They also activate a very specific kind of action. It's not the forced and desperate action we discussed earlier, but something much more elegant, intuitive, and powerful. It's an action that doesn't come from effort, but from inspiration. It's the inner compass that begins to point the way, showing the next clear and effortless step toward your destination. After aligning their energy and creating memories of their future, many people fall into a new trap: passivity. They meditate, visualize, feel good, and then sit on the couch waiting for their dream life to knock on their door. But the universe doesn't work with home delivery without you opening the door. Action is still a crucial part of the equation, but it's not the action you know. It's not the forced action based on effort and struggle that comes from the anxious mind. It's inspired action. When you're truly attuned to your new frequency, inspiration begins to flow. It doesn't come as a detailed 10-step plan. It arrives as a sudden impulse, an intuitive whisper, an idea that seems to spring from nowhere. It's that inexplicable urge to call an old friend, the curiosity to enter a bookstore you've never noticed, or the sudden courage to finally start that project you've been putting off for months. These aren't coincidences. They're signs. These impulses are the coordinates that your future self, from the already existing reality, is sending to your internal GPS. They are the breadcrumbs left on the trail to guide you home. Trying to figure out the whole path with your logical mind before aligning yourself is like trying to drive looking only at a map, without ever starting the car's engine and looking out the window. Energetic alignment is the fuel. Inspired action is the compass that points to the next visible step ahead of you, and only that step. Your only task is to trust those whispers and act on them, even if they don't make logical sense at the moment. The rational mind might question, why should I go to that event? I don't know anyone there. But intuition, your inner compass, knows that the person who holds the key to your next opportunity will be there. Trusting inspired action is an act of faith in the process, a demonstration to the universe that you are ready to co-create, to play your part in the dance. Each time you follow one of these impulses, you strengthen your connection to the flow of the universe and accelerate the manifestation of your new reality. Each time you hesitate, doubt, or ignore the whisper out of fear, you create resistance and delay the process. The path doesn't reveal itself in its entirety. It unfolds one step at a time as you walk. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes through inspired action. It is by following this inner compass, one step at a time, that you navigate the path that leads from your old reality to the new. You are being guided, effortlessly, through the labyrinth. Each inspired action is a step that brings you closer to the door, the portal that separates your old self from your future self. And it is by following this subtle guidance that you finally find yourself before the decisive moment, the point of no return. And when you reach that point, After aligning your energy, creating the memories, and following the compass, you realize that all the preparation has led you to a single instant, a moment where theory ends and real experience begins. An instant where you no longer need to rehearse, because it's time to step onto the stage. It's the moment of the true leap. There comes a time when all the preparation, all the analysis, and all the mental rehearsal must come to an end. You understood the mechanism of frequencies, learned to use the laboratory of your emotions, built the memories of your future, and trained yourself to follow the compass of inspired action. You did the inner work. Now, you find yourself in a different place. You stand on the edge of a precipice, not of danger, but of potential. Before you lies the portal between who you were and who you have decided to become. The quantum leap, the real and instantaneous change, is not a long and drawn-out process that happens in the future. It happens in a single instant of absolute decision. It's the moment you stop trying to become your new version and simply decide that you are that version. Now. It's the point where you completely let go of the old identity, with its stories of pain, limitation, and victimhood, and embrace the new identity as your one and only true reality, without a plan B. It's the merging of everything you've learned into a single act of total trust. It's no longer about believing that change will happen someday. It's about deciding that it has already happened on an energetic level and living from that truth, regardless of what the mirror of external reality is still reflecting. It's a silent but powerful declaration to the universe. I am no longer that person. I am this person now. It's an act of being, not of doing. Life can change in an instant, if you let it. This is the central teaching that echoes through the ages, from the wisdom of Thoth to quantum physics. The power to redefine your entire reality is not scattered across time. It is concentrated in a single present moment of conscious choice. This is that instant. The portal is always open, but it takes courage to cross it. And crossing means completely letting go of the shore from which you came. At that moment of surrender, you stop looking back, stop checking if it's working, stop asking for proof. You simply embody your new reality. You walk like it, talk like it, feel like it, act like it. Not as an act, but as your most authentic expression. It is at this exact moment of total embodiment that the universe, which is a great mirror, has no choice but to rearrange matter and circumstances to reflect the new image you are emitting. The leap isn't something you do through effort. It's something you allow to happen through your surrender to your new truth. It's letting go of control and allowing the intelligence of the universe to orchestrate the details. You did your part by changing your frequency and your identity. Now, you allow the universe to do its part. You don't jump off a cliff. You discover you know how to fly and simply spread your wings. The invitation has been made. The wisdom has been shared. Science confirms the power that resides in your consciousness. Your soul, which knows the truth of all this, yearns for this flight. Your entire journey has brought you here, to the edge of this moment. The only question that remains is not whether you can, but whether you will. The moment is now. Jump. After taking the leap and deciding to become your new version, you need to understand one of the strangest and most powerful laws of the universe, something that quantum physics calls the observer effect. In experiments, scientists have discovered that the simple act of observing a subatomic particle changes its behavior. Reality at the most fundamental level is not fixed. It responds to the consciousness that observes it. In your life, this has a gigantic implication. You become what you direct your attention to. Your attention is not passive. It is an act of creation, a spotlight that solidifies reality. Think about it practically. If you want to create a life of abundance, but spend all day consuming news about economic crises, complaining about the price of things, and participating in conversations about debt and lack of money, you are using your powerful observer focus to energize and materialize precisely the reality of scarcity. You are telling the universe, with your attention, this is what I believe. This is what is real for me. And the universe, like a perfect mirror, simply reflects that image back to you, confirming your beliefs. To sustain the quantum leap, you need to become a conscious and deliberate observer. You need to stop observing the reality you don't want and start focusing intensely on the reality you have chosen. This means clearing your field of observation. Start using the world as an intentional mirror. Unfollow social media profiles that make you feel inadequate or afraid. Mute groups and conversations that only revolve around complaints, gossip, and negativity. You need to protect your attention as your most valuable asset, because it is. Instead, start surrounding yourself with examples of your new reality. Follow and study people who are already living the life you aspire to. Not with envy, but with the curiosity of a learner, absorbing their mindset, habits, and frequency. Read books, watch movies, listen to music and podcasts that evoke the feelings of joy, success, love, and freedom that you want to experience. You are calibrating your nervous system, showing it what it feels like to live at this new frequency, making it familiar. This practice isn't about escaping reality or deluding yourself. It's about using a fundamental law of creation to your advantage. You are withdrawing your energy from the world that is disappearing and investing it in the world that is being born. You are consciously choosing which reflection you want to see in the mirror of life. Observation ceases to be an automatic and reactive act and becomes your main tool for creation. You are not just looking at the world, you are deciding which world to look at. Over time, as you maintain your focus on the new reality, something begins to change. The image of your old life begins to lose strength, to become a distant echo. The image of your new life, on the other hand, becomes clearer, more solid, more real. You are collapsing the wave of infinite possibilities into the particle of your chosen experience, simply by the power of your focused attention. You stop reinforcing the prison and begin to build the palace. But for this observation to work with full force, you need to master the language that the universe understands. It's no use looking at wealth if your words and inner thoughts are still trapped in a subtle snare, a programming flaw in our minds that sabotages most people without them realizing it. As you begin to focus your attention, you will encounter a peculiarity of your own mind, a flaw in the system that can negate all your effort. Your subconscious mind, the part that really runs the show, doesn't process negation well. If I tell you right now, don't think of a blue elephant, what's the first image that comes to mind? A blue elephant. The mind first needs to create the image before trying to negate it. But by this point, the image has already been created, and the energy has already been directed towards it. Now, apply this to your life. When you set your intentions by saying, "I don't want to have debt anymore," the word and concept that gain strength in your mind and vibration are debt. You are unintentionally focusing on and energizing exactly what you want to eliminate. When you say, "I don't want to get sick anymore," your attention is on the illness. You are tuning into the frequency of what you want to avoid, keeping yourself trapped in the same cycle, even with the best of intentions. To master the shift in reality and make your power of observation work, you need to learn to speak the language of the universe, which is always affirmative, positive, and focused on the desired outcome. You need to stop declaring what you don't want and start declaring what you do want, as if it were already a truth. It's a subtle change in language, but one that causes a gigantic transformation in your energetic frequency. You stop fighting the darkness and simply turn on the light. Instead of "I don't want to be poor anymore," the affirmation that tunes into the right frequency is "I am a magnet for prosperity, and abundance flows easily to me." Instead of "I don't want to feel alone," the command the universe understands is "I attract authentic and loving relationships into my life." Replace "I don't want this stressful job anymore" with "I am open and receptive to a career that brings me joy, purpose, and freedom." This reframing isn't just a play on words or superficial positive thinking. It's a fundamental shift in frequency. By focusing on what you don't want, you operate from an energy of resistance, struggle, and repulsion. You're pushing against the current reality, which, paradoxically, keeps it bound to you. By focusing on what you do want in an affirmative way, you operate from an energy of permission, invitation, and attraction. You let go of the rope in the tug-of-war and simply begin to walk in the new direction. Your attention is the most valuable currency you possess in the universe. Every thought and every word is an investment. You can invest in describing your problems, keeping them alive and strong, or you can invest in envisioning your solution, drawing it into your experience. The choice is yours at every moment. Stop giving energy to what you want to leave behind. Describe your life not as it is, but as you want it to be. And watch as the universe begins to conspire to make your new story a reality. However, even using the correct language, some people freeze. They try to jump from a belief of "I have nothing" to "I am a millionaire," and their internal system simply doesn't accept it. The disbelief is so great that it creates a short circuit. This is where a wise strategy comes in, teaching us not only to jump, but also to rise. Trying to jump from a reality where you feel completely broke to one where you see yourself as a multimillionaire can be too big a step for your subconscious mind. If the distance between where you are and where you want to be is too vast, an abyss of disbelief opens up. Your logical mind screams, "This is impossible," and your nervous system, trained to keep you safe in what is familiar, activates all the alarms and sabotages the process. Manifestation becomes a blockage, not because the universe can't deliver, but because you can't believe it's possible to receive. Ancient wisdom, however, speaks not only of the leap, but also of the ladder. Instead of trying to take a single heroic leap to the top of the building, you can build and climb a ladder, step by step. This approach is not about thinking small or limiting your dreams. It is a divine strategy of gradually expanding your belief and your capacity to receive. It's about making the impossible possible, one step at a time. Think about your ultimate desire, the one that seems big and distant. Now, instead of focusing on it, ask yourself, what is the next step in that direction that I can truly believe and feel is possible right now? If your dream is a mansion on the beach, perhaps the first step your mind accepts is finding a slightly larger, brighter apartment in a better neighborhood. If your goal is the complete cure of a chronic condition, perhaps the first step is having a day with 10% less pain or a little more energy. Each time you reach one of these steps, something powerful happens. You prove to yourself that change is possible. Your belief expands. What was once your ceiling now becomes your new floor. From this new level, the next step, which previously seemed too high, now becomes visible and attainable. You are no longer trying to believe in something abstract. You are building your confidence based on real evidence of your own creation. This is Jacob's inner ladder, a bridge between heaven and earth, between your dream and your reality. You climb step by step, expanding your comfort zone and your energy capacity with each step. For someone who earns 1,000, Believing in earning 2,000 is an achievable step. Once 2,000 becomes normal, believing in 5,000 becomes easier, and so on. Each step conquered makes the next less intimidating and more believable. Don't underestimate the power of small steps. They are the most effective way to reprogram your subconscious without activating your defense mechanisms. You are gently accustoming your system to ever-increasing levels of success, happiness, and well-being. You are normalizing the extraordinary. Keep climbing, step by step, and when you look back, you will see that the abyss has been crossed and that the sky that once seemed so distant is now the firm ground beneath your feet. But as you climb that ladder, there's an energy that can make you slip and fall all over again, the energy of pressure and need. And to avoid that, you need to learn the paradoxical art of caring, without caring so much. While you apply all these techniques, there is a subtle force that can sabotage the entire process. The energy of desperate need. When you cling too tightly to the outcome, when your happiness depends on the change happening, you create a frequency of scarcity. It's a paradox. The more you need something to happen, the more you push that thing away. Because the energy of need screams to the universe, "I don't have it." Excessive force and obsessive determination become the very anchor that prevents your ship from setting sail. Think about the times you manifested small things with impressive ease. Finding a parking spot in a crowded place, thinking of a song and it playing on the radio, wanting a coffee and someone offering you one. Why do these things happen so easily? Because there was no attachment. You didn't care that much. You had the desire, you let go, and the universe delivered. The absence of resistance and the lightness of your energy allowed the manifestation to occur effortlessly. Frequency shifts happen much more easily in a state of relaxation, lightness, and even enjoyment. Trying to force the manifestation of something great with a heavy energy of "I need this to be happy" is like trying to hold water with clenched hands. The more you squeeze, the more it escapes. Gentleness, permission, and trust are the keys. You need to learn the art of sacred detachment. Treat the process like a game. Instead of seeing it as a life or death experience, approach it with the curiosity of a child and a mischievous spirit. Enjoy the feeling of already being the person you want to be. Play with your new identity. Feel the joy of your new life now, without the pressure of it having to materialize in the physical world. The joy of the process itself is the reward, and paradoxically, it's what accelerates the result. Detachment is not indifference. It's not saying "I don't want this anymore." It's the supreme trust that, once the seed of your intention has been planted in the fertile soil of the correct frequency and watered with your elevated feelings, it will germinate. You don't need to dig up the soil every 5 minutes to check if the seed is growing. Doing so only hinders the natural process. You trust the invisible gardener, the universe, to do its part. So, set your intention clearly, feel the emotion as if it were already real, and then let go. Surrender. Shift your attention away from the when and the how and focus on keeping your vibration high in the present moment. Go live your life. Find joy in the little things. Be grateful for what you already have. This energy of contentment and confidence creates the perfect vacuum for the universe to fill with the manifestation of your desire, often in more creative and surprising ways than you could have imagined. But it is precisely at that moment, after you let go, that the most difficult test of your faith begins. It is the crossing of an intermediate space, a place that can make you doubt everything and want to run back to the safety of your old reality. Between the moment you align your frequency, plant the seed and release it with confidence, and the moment the tree of your new reality becomes visible and solid, there is an interval, a space of time. Ancient mystics called this the river between two worlds, or the void. This is the final and most crucial test of your faith. It is a transition period that can be uncomfortable, confusing, and full of evidence that seems to say nothing is working. It is at this exact point that your old reality, sensing it is losing control, will scream the loudest. It will bombard you with evidence to the contrary. The unexpected bill will arrive. The person will disappoint you again. The physical symptom will worsen for a day. The matrix will play all its cards to convince you that change is an illusion and that you should return to the safety of your old cell. It's a desperate attempt by your old self to pull you back. Every thought of this isn't working. I'm a fool for believing this. Or I knew it was too good to be true, is like a strong current that drags you back to the bank from which you departed. Every time you react with fear, doubt, or frustration to outward appearances, you are giving your energy back to the old reality, making the river crossing longer and harder. This is where most people give up, just a few meters from the other bank. The duration of this interval is not fixed. It is determined by your ability to maintain faith in the unseen. It is your ability to continue acting, feeling, and being your new version, even when the 3D mirror has not yet updated the image. It is walking by faith, not by sight. It is trusting more in the reality you have built within than in the shadows that the external world still projects. It is remembering that a ship does not change course instantly. It needs time to complete the turn. During this journey, it is vital to continue following the compass of inspired action. The whispers of your intuition are the oars that help you cross the river. Ignoring them out of fear, or because the other bank is not yet in sight, is like letting go of the oars in the middle of the current. You need to keep rowing towards your new promised land, trusting that each stroke brings you closer, even if the fog still covers the horizon. Remember, the farmer doesn't plant the seed and expect to harvest the fruit the next day. He trusts the invisible process that happens beneath the earth. He knows that germination is occurring, even if he cannot see it. Your task during this interval is to be like that farmer. Continue watering your seeds with elevated feelings, protecting them from the weeds of doubt, and trusting that the sun of your consciousness is doing the work. But to cross that river and finally reach the other bank, faith alone is not enough. You need the capacity to receive the new land. Often, we reach the edge of our promise, but our vessel is too small to contain the blessing that awaits us. Infinite realities, with all their abundance, health, and happiness, are always available. Like an inexhaustible waterfall of energy, the source never runs dry. The real question, therefore, is not whether the universe can give you what you want, but whether you have the inner capacity to receive. Imagine that your capacity to receive good things in life, be it love, money, joy, or peace, is a cup. The waterfall of the universe is always gushing, but it can only fill the cup you present to it. Many of us, due to past conditioning, traumas, and beliefs of unworthiness, go through life with a tiny cup, the size of a thimble. As soon as a little happiness or success enters, the cup overflows. Unconsciously, we find it uncomfortable, strange, dangerous. It's too good to be true, we think. And then, without realizing it, we turn the cup over, sabotaging ourselves to return to the familiar state of lack or struggle, which, although painful, is known and safe. Have you ever seen people win the lottery and lose everything in a few years? Or someone who finally finds a healthy relationship but creates drama to destroy it? That's not bad luck, it's a capacity problem. Their nervous system wasn't prepared to handle that level of abundance or love. The cup was too small for the blessing, and the excess needed to be poured out so that the system could return to its normal, familiar state. expanding your energy capacity, increasing the size of your cup, is a conscious act and a crucial part of the quantum leap. It's about training your nervous system to feel comfortable with more. It's choosing to remain in the frequency of joy, even when a part of you says you don't deserve it. It's allowing yourself to receive a compliment without diminishing yourself, accepting a gift without feeling indebted, celebrating a victory without expecting the other shoe to fall off. It's a process of getting used to goodness. It's about continuing to climb the ladder of belief, even when the height starts to feel dizzying. It's about allowing yourself to have more than your parents had, to be happier than you think you're entitled to. It's about breaking the invisible ceilings that you or your lineage have placed on how much good is allowed in your life. Each time you allow yourself to receive and hold more joy, more peace, more abundance, your cup expands. The universe won't give you more than you are willing and able to contain. It won't pour an ocean into a shot glass, as that would overwhelm you. It expects you to build a larger vessel. The ultimate question, therefore, is not what can I have, but rather how much good am I truly willing to bear and sustain in my life. And this journey of expansion, of crossing the river and increasing one's cup, is not random. It follows an ancient map, a process of transformation that the wise have described as a journey through various inner portals. This journey of leaving one reality and entering another is not a straight and simple path. It mirrors an ancient and profound process that alchemists called the Great Work, the transformation of the soul. They describe this journey in 7 stages, 7 portals that we need to cross to transform the lead of our old self into the gold of our awakened self. Understanding this map gives us the clarity not to give up when the path becomes dark and challenging. The first portal is calcination, the fire. It's when life seems to burn you, breaking your structures, your ego, and your attachments. It's the crisis, the loss, the bottom of the well that forces you to question everything. Although painful, this fire purifies, burning away everything that is not essential. The second portal is dissolution. After the fire, the ashes of your old self are dissolved in the water of your emotions. It's a period of mourning, of deeply feeling the repressed pains and traumas, allowing them to surface to be cleansed. The third portal is separation. After dissolving everything, you begin to sift through the debris. You learn to discern what is your true essence from the beliefs, fears, and conditioning you absorbed from your family and society. The fourth is conjunction, the sacred union. Here, you begin to integrate your inner polarities, the masculine and the feminine, light and shadow, reason and intuition. You stop fighting against parts of yourself and embrace them. The fifth portal is fermentation. This is a stage of apparent darkness and decay. The old self needs to die and rot completely so that this decomposition can fertilize the soil for the birth of the new. It is the cocoon, a period of deep introspection before transformation. The sixth is distillation. Here, your essence is purified of all remaining impurities. It is a process of elevation, where you distill the pure spirit from matter, reaching new levels of clarity and consciousness. Finally, you reach the seventh portal, coagulation. It is here that spiritual gold, your new consciousness, solidifies and becomes tangible in the physical world. Your higher self, which has been cultivated and purified through all stages, now fully manifests in your body and in your life. What was spirit becomes matter. What was a dream becomes your lived reality. Recognizing these portals in your own journey gives you a map. It shows that moments of chaos, pain, and confusion are not signs that you are doing something wrong. They are, in fact, necessary and inevitable steps in the alchemical process of creating the philosopher's stone, a fully awakened and realized human being, capable of transforming their own reality. And after passing through all those portals, understanding all the laws, and doing all the inner work, you arrive at the final point, where the entire journey boils down to a single final act. After this entire journey, after understanding the frequencies, aligning your energy, creating memories of the future, following your inner compass, and crossing the river of doubt, you reach the culminating point. You reach the end of preparation and the beginning of true existence. Here, you understand the ultimate truth. The quantum leap is not a magical event that happens to you. It is a decision you make. It is an act of sovereignty. This is the moment when you stop preparing to be and simply are. It is the fusion of all knowledge, all practice, and all faith into a single act of absolute trust. It is the moment when you definitively and completely let go of your old identity, with all its excuses and stories, and cling to your new reality as the only truth, without looking back, without a contingency plan. It is the point of no return, consciously chosen. Life can change in an instant, if you let it. This phrase, which seemed like a cliché, now reveals its deeper meaning. The power to transform your entire existence is not distributed over months or years. It is concentrated in your ability to make a decision in the present moment. This is that instant. The teaching of Thoth, which echoes through the millennia, becomes clear. The portal to any reality is always open, but the key is your decision to cross it. Modern quantum science confirms this, showing that consciousness is the determining factor in the creation of reality. Your soul, which has always known this truth, yearns for this moment of liberation, for this flight. The entire journey, every challenge and every revelation has brought you precisely to this point, to the edge of this moment of absolute power. You don't need more information. You don't need more signs. You just need to decide. This is not a leap in the dark. It is a leap into the light of your own consciousness. It is the decision to trust more in the truth you feel inside than in the illusion you see outside. It is the moment you stop asking the world for permission to be who you were born to be. You take the throne of your own life and declare, to yourself and to the universe, who you are. The invitation was extended from the beginning. The path was shown. The power has always been within you. Now, the only question that matters is, will you decide? Will you decide now? Because the universe isn't waiting for a sign. It's waiting for your decision. The moment is now. Take the leap. If you've made it this far, you're no longer the same person who started this video. Your consciousness has already expanded, and you've felt the truth behind these words. To let me know you've watched until the end and are committed to your transformation, leave a comment saying, "My life changes in this instant." If this content has helped you in any way and you feel called to contribute to the growth of this channel more directly, I've left a link in the first pinned comment where you can offer your support. Any help you can give is very important to me and allows me to continue spreading more messages like this. But understand, just the fact that you watched until the end is already a huge help. If you can, share this video with someone you think needs to hear this. And before you leave, your journey doesn't have to end here. I've prepared a special video for you to take the next step, content that will delve even deeper into what we've discussed. Don't leave yet. Click on the video that's currently playing on the screen, and let's meet there.